Welcome back for another video. Pre-season's finally over and we're back with the final video covering everything you need to know across all teams, including which players are most in form, tactical observations and more. I've put the hours in research in to save you the time. Hit subscribe for more FPL content like this to help guide you through the season. Pre-season results and form players are courtesy of Fantasy Football Scout. You get even more information on their pre-season page, including all the form players, pre-season minutes played by match. And aside from that, as a Scout member you get access to award-winning articles from top managers and all the tools in the members area like player comparison, fixture ticker tool, data tables and the rest. Click the link in the comments to become a member and take advantage of the 40% pre-season discount. Starting off with Arsenal, who've had a solid pre-season, 4 wins, 1 draw and then a loss to Liverpool. Jesus and Havertz have been the most productive, Jesus with 3 goals 1 assist, Havertz with 2 goals 2 assists. What's important to note is that throughout pre-season Jesus had played up top. However, in their final pre-season match against Lyon, they lined up full strength. It was Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Havertz and Martinelli, and it was Havertz leading the line. So avoid Jesus as he won't be a consistent starter. I wouldn't write Havertz off for 8 mil based on the chance he plays midfield. I'm still expecting him to play up top nearly every game, and he brings a lot to the team with his height and physicality, and he offers a target up top that Jesus can't provide. Saka's definitely going to start game week 1. He came off the bench against Bayer Leverkusen and he started against Lyon. Martinelli should start game week 1 as well, but he is riskier because there's Trossard and even Jesus that can play left wing. Rice has been taking corners from the left side again and Saka on the right. 2 excellent deliveries from Rice in their final pre-season friendly. He assisted Saliba and then Gabriel both off corners. He offers a lot when he plays as an 8 and he could be an under the radar pick this season if Arsenal sign a defensive mid with the intention to push him further forward. My favourite Arsenal picks for game week 1 are Raya, Gabriel, Odegaard, Saka and Havertz. I'm not expecting Arteta to shake things up in the back line despite the Calafiori signing. It'll be White, Gabriel and Saliba all nailed for a while, with Calafiori probably coming in at left back when he's fit. Aston Villa played 7 pre-season friendlies, finishing with a disappointing loss to Dortmund. In that final game, Digne started ahead of new signing Maatsen in left back, so there's a good chance we see Digne in game week 1, so be careful if you are looking at Maatsen. Rodgers has been the standout player. He's played more minutes than any Villa player and he scored 3 times with a further 2 assists. He's my favourite of the 5 mil midfielders. It's also worth noting that Watkins doesn't have a single pre-season minute under his belt, and that might have contributed to Rodgers playing as much as he did. He'll get the most minutes of the 5 mil midfielders, but not completely nailed. So if you've got him, make sure he's your 8th attacker ideally, in the sense that you've got 5 playable midfielders and 3 playable forwards, so he's an option for your bench if need be. Bailey was on the bench for their final game. However, Villa did play 3 days before the Dortmund match, which he started. 1 goal, 1 assist for Bailey in pre-season. We've got Archer under the notes here, he scored 3 times. He's not one to select, but I've included him on the off chance he goes on loan again this season. He could be an option as a cheap forward later on. Just the 4 pre-season matches for Bournemouth, who went undefeated, playing against Wrexham, Arsenal, Rayo Vallecano and Girona. The huge news is that Solanke's left for a club record fee to Spurs, so let's discuss that first. In Bournemouth's final pre-season friendly, Areola experimented with Billing up top, and then later Semenyo, and then 4.5 mil forward Jebison came off the bench in the 77th minute and he scored the winner. Unal's currently injured, so that's one less option up top. There's a fair chance we see Semenyo out of position up top in game week 1, and he could be a great pick for 5.5 mil. Realistically, Bournemouth probably signed a Solanke replacement though, so Jebison could see very limited minutes, but he could be worth a go for 4.5 mil, given none of the 4.5 mil forwards look like starters anyway. He played minutes in every pre-season game for Bournemouth. Kluivert scored a penalty in the final match, and he could be Bournemouth's new penalty taker with Solanke gone. In goal, Neto missed the final game with a minor injury, and Senesi went off with a head injury. Bumo was a factor last season, and he could be again dependent on Tony, who has been rumoured with a move away. 3 goals, 1 assist in pre-season. Brentford played 5 games in total, winning once, no clean sheets. Flecken rejoined the team late after coming back from the Euros, starting in the final 2 games for them. New signing Thiago got off to a good start, scoring twice, but unfortunately he's picked up an knee injury and he's out for a while. The absence of both Henry and Hickey, first choice fullbacks, hasn't helped either, and it could spell success for Palace in game week 1. The one player stealing the headlines in Brighton's pre-season is Minte. Newcastle fans have been gutted he was let go. He's looked incredibly sharp, pacey and dangerous with the ball, very unpredictable player. He's got a play style that reminds me of Mane at his Liverpool peak. 3 goals, 2 assists for Minte in pre-season, returning in every game. A genuine option, and only 1.2% owned for 5.5 mil. Brighton's opening 3 games at Everton, Man United and Arsenal, which aren't the best, so there is the option to opt for another 5.5 mil midfielder, and then bring him in game week 4 when they've got Ipswich and Forest in back-to-back home games. Perfectly good punt from Game Week 1 though. The other stand-up player has been Barco. He's played in left wing back and he's been outstanding. He's played in centre mid and left wing before at his old club. He's good with his feet, very composed player despite his age, and he played a few perfectly weighted balls over the opposition's fullback for Mitoma to latch onto, and he's even been taking some corners. Can't go wrong for 4 mil. There tends to always be caveats with these 4 mil defenders though, unless it's Lundstrom anyway. Once there's Stupinjan's back, he's got some serious competitions for that left wing back spot, and we have seen Baleba used in left wing back in pre-season, which Hörsler remarked is a position he feels he can play. They're also being strongly linked with Kadioglu, who can play left back or right back. Brighton have looked more vulnerable down their right, so could be deployed on that side if the signing happens. Some Fenerbahce fans will argue he's far better down the left, despite being right-footed though. Nonetheless, Barco is fine to start in Game Week 1 even, as long as beyond that you've got the bench depth and you don't need to start him every week. João Pedro missed the pre-season tour and he rejoined right at the end, playing 45 minutes in the final friendly, and he scored a worldie outside the box, assisted by Mitoma. Chelsea haven't had the best pre-season, 1 win, 2 draws and 3 losses. Players still clearly learning the system and Maresca figuring out his best 11 and who fits the system. Nonetheless, Nkunku's been a bright spark with 3 goals, 1 assist. 2 of those goals were penalties, but I wouldn't write him off based on that alone. He also won a penalty, which he gave to Madueke. I wouldn't be put off by the Game Week 1 fixture either. He is the sort of player capable of getting a return in any game against any team and creating something from nothing. In other news, Reece James is injured again, and he's suspended for the first 3 games anyway. I'd steer well clear of the defence. They looked better in the final game, drawing against Inter Milan, but they've looked so open at times, including some defensive mistakes under pressure, which Haaland punished. Palmer was involved in the final friendly, coming off the bench at half-time. No doubt starts Game Week 1 though. He and Nkunku should be 2 of the first names on the team sheet, despite the absurd number of incoming players this window. I'm looking forward to seeing how Nkunku and Palmer link up. Despite losing Elise and Mateta away at the Olympics, and Eze joining late, Palace have had a great pre-season, 3 wins and 2 draws. Eze Munoz only played in the final match, having rejoined the squad later. Mitchell's played well on the opposite flank with 1 goal, 1 assist, though I'd still lean towards Munoz for the same price. Kamada joins a long list of 5.5 mil options, along with Minte, Hudson-Odoi, Smith-Rowe and some others. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists in pre-season. Glasner rates him highly, having played under him before at Frankfurt where he did well. Another price bracket with a few names is the 6 mil forwards. We've got Wood, Munoz and Calvert-Lewin. Personally, I'll be steering clear of Calvert-Lewin purely because of his poor injury record, though he's got 3 returns in pre-season. Pickford joined up for the final match, a respectable 1-1 draw against Roma. Brentford hasn't featured in pre-season at all, and Mikalenko missed a few games before his first start. He's my pick of the Everton defenders for 4.5 mil, slightly better points per match than Tarkowski and Brentford last season, for 0.5 mil cheaper. Fulham up next, another club record sign in this window, with Smith-Rowe joining from Arsenal. He's got an eye for goal and he pops up in good positions, and he's actually my favourite of the 5.5 mil midfielders, with the fixtures nudging it slightly in his favour. He's got 2 promoted teams in the opening 3 game weeks, and expected to play as a 10 for Fulham. Smith-Rowe scored off the bench against Sevilla on his debut, and then he played 81 minutes in the final match against Hoffenheim, scoring again. Alternatively, if your midfield is set, then Munoz is another option, 6 mil forward, and he's got 1 goal, 1 assist in pre-season. Admittedly, that came in the 6-1 win over Watford. Robinson rotates perfectly with Barco if you're looking for good coverage in case he loses his spot, and he's got 2 pre-season assists himself. Not much to report from Ipswich, though new signing and former defender Johnson has played more minutes than anyone for Ipswich. I'm fully expecting Leif Davis to be a strong option this season as well. The 24-year-old left-back got 21 assists and 2 goals in the Championship last season. He takes some free kicks and he's on corners from both sides, but 4.5 mil. Greaves and Johnson are both great picks for 4 mil. Ipswich do have options in right-back, so Johnson not necessarily completely nailed if his performances aren't up to par. Tuanzebe and Clark can play right-back, though no doubt Johnson wouldn't have left West Ham without assurances of start, so he seems like a safe option for a while. They played in a back 5 against Nice, and we saw Johnson playing in wing-back. Leicester ended their pre-season in disappointing fashion, losing 3-0 to Lens. Vardy only played in their first match, he's injured and he's a doubt for Game Week 1. And to make it worse, Daka went off injured against Lens. 5.5 mil midfielder Mavid Didi played up top for a portion of the game, until 4.5 mil forward Cannon came on. 4 mil defender Fast started in centre-back, though he didn't impress. One area of my FPL team I'm reluctantly missing out on is a Spurs attacker. I think there could be a genuine chance that Spurs put a few past them Game Week 1. Avoid Leicester players besides Winks, who's probably the best 4.5 mil midfielder, and perhaps Fast as a 4 mil defender, but don't plan to ever start them. Big one next, Liverpool. There was a significant amount of info to draw from their final pre-season games. They played against Sevilla and Las Palmas on the same day, which essentially was the first choice 11 and a B team. Against Sevilla, it was Alisson, Trent, Quansah, Van Dijk, Tsimikas, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Salah, Jota and Diaz. So Trent was straight back into the team on his return, and he assisted a world-class volley from Jota. Further to that, Quansah started in right centre-back alongside Van Dijk. In the match before Van Dijk returned, we saw Quansah in right centre-back and Konate left centre-back. Slot giving us serious clues that Quansah is going to be his first choice right centre-back heading into Game Week 1. He's more press proven, he's better with his feet, and he does fit Slot's system better on paper. It's not out of the question for Konate to come into the 11 here and there though, so I wouldn't call him nailed, but he's a genuine option for 4.5 mil, especially with those opening fixtures. Tsimikas isn't a void. Although he started here, Robertson's only just back from injury and he played in the other match. Salah was a bit wide at times against Sevilla, but he's looked hungry throughout pre-season and very involved. He's going to do well under Slot. The big question is, Salah or Haaland? I mean, there's nothing to separate Salah and Haaland drafts, so go with your gut. I'm currently on the Haaland draft myself, and I will be posting my final team later in the week, so make sure you subscribe to see how I end up. The route some are taking is to go for Haaland and then go for Jota for Liverpool coverage, who's 7.5 mil, and he will start in Game Week 1 against Ipswich. I see Alisson and Rye as very sound picks despite the 5.5 mil price tag. My favourite Liverpool picks are Trent, Quansah, Jota, Salah and Alisson. Man City next then. They took a very relaxed approach to returning players this pre-season. Foden, Walker, Stones, Rodri haven't played a single minute, and De Bruyne's played exactly 1 minute. The youngsters have impressed though, particularly Bob with 2 goals, 4 assists. A genuine option for 5 mil, and he's bound to start in Game Week 1 and potentially beyond that, but he is still a huge rotation risk. He's bigger upside than Rodgers for the same price, particularly if he gets the start in Game Week 2 home to Ipswich. Haaland bagged 5 goals in pre-season despite missing the likes of Foden, KDB and Bernardo to feed him chances. It's going to be interesting to see what Pep does up top, as Haaland's not going to play every single minute, particularly when the Champions League starts. In those games here and there when we see Haaland off around the 80th minute, we could see the likes of Foden getting game time as a false 9, which we did see before in the post-Aguero and the pre-Haaland transition. Haaland's ownership has been creeping up. It was 30% the day FPL launched, 44% now. He was quiet in the Community Shield. Against Chelsea though, Haaland had a brace 5 minutes into the game, completing the hat-trick in the 56th minute, and of course City faced him in Game Week 1. Lastly, a quick note on Vardiol. He's not been playing as advanced like we saw at the tail end of last season. Lewis has seemingly been given the licence to roam forward, with Vardiol playing centre-back some matches and left-back others. Again, it's worth noting this could be a consequence of missing players more than anything, and he still managed to get a top-class assist against Barcelona, splitting the defence with a through ball, which are rarely buried. Man United's pre-season's been a mixed bag in terms of results, but also Joran Højlund getting injured. Ahmad's been a bright spark, and he's another 5-man midfielder in the conversation, but he's probably my least favourite of the bunch right now. He was off before 60 minutes in the Community Shield. Garnacho came on and he scored a great goal as well, who is his competition in right wing. He'll get loads of minutes over the season, but starts could be unpredictable, with Rashford and Garnacho options on the wings. Bruno played as a false 9 against Man City in the Community Shield. He did make a few runs in behind, and he scored a ridiculous goal from outside the box, bending one past Ederson, but it was ruled slightly offside. There was some really neat link-up in midfield between Bruno, Mount and the wingers. The midfield, an area where Man United were weak at times last season, but the link-up's looking promising. Bruno a top pick for 8.5 mil to take into your FPL team Game Week 1. Newcastle next, and Murphy's been Newcastle's stand-up player with 5 goals, 3 assists, with many believing that he will be first choice right winger currently. The risk is that Barnes could start ahead of him at some point, maybe even Game Week 1. He's only 5.5 mil though, and he is home to Southampton, and he's a massive upside differential. Isak's been superb, 3 goals, 1 assist, as has Hall by the way, a goal and 2 assists for the fullback. We talked about him in the first pre-season update. It could be his spot to lose now. He offers so much more than Burn when he plays left back. He's able to tuck into midfield, and he's popped up in central areas, creating chances, and even scoring in pre-season. Trippier's still in the picture at right back, so Livramento's too risky to pick now unfortunately. Of course, if that changes his transfer window, then Livramento immediately becomes the best 4.5 mil defender in the game for me. Gordon returned for Newcastle's final pre-season friendly, playing 45 minutes. He scored and then he was off at half time. Nottingham Forest finished pre-season with a 4-3 win over Olympiacos. Awoni's struggled with fitness throughout pre-season, only playing 13 and 18 minutes, which has seen a load of game time for Wood, who has scored 3 times and a further 2 assists. He looks secure for the start of the season, but once Awoni's got full match fitness, they could share minutes. In a nutshell, Wood's a very solid pick for 6 mil as a budget forward. Hudson-Odoi and Elanga have been involved in the goals as well, and both were actually benched for that final game. but I'd suggest this was Nuno trying a few things out more than anything. Southampton played with a back 5 against Getafe to end pre-season, and they kept a clean sheet. 5.5 mil forward Armstrong's on pens for Southampton, and he scored 3 times in total, 2 of those coming against Eastleigh in their first pre-season friendly though. Brereton Diaz has joined from Sheffield United this window, and he played on the left with Armstrong up top. It's a shame that Sugawara came in at 4.5 mil. He's incredibly attacking, and he's got a share of some set play duties, and he's going to chip in returns this season. Gut feeling though, Southampton are going to be a team to target, so I'd avoid the defence entirely, unless it's a Harwood Bellis sort of player to stick on your bench indefinitely. I wouldn't feel comfortable planning to start him at any point. On to Spurs, and a lot to unpack here. Kulusevski's been playing up top, and as a result he got 3 goals, 3 assists in pre-season, though he's in a void following the signing of Solanke. We talked earlier about Leicester and the possible goal fest in this Game Week 1 fixture, and the question is, do we buy Solanke straight off the bat? Well, Ange made a few interesting remarks when asked about him starting Game Week 1, saying, "Yeah, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be. Of course we'll have a look at him during the week, but I think that considering he's done most of the pre-season, I see no reason why he wouldn't be available." And in another interview, he also remarked on how they signed Van der Ven days before Game Week 1 last season, and he came straight into the starting 11. So he's worth picking if you can find room for him in my view. Pedro Porro scored twice in pre-season as well, a worldie against Bayern Munich, another top pick for Game Week 1 at 5.5 mil. Bergvall's impressed whenever given a chance, 2 assists for the 4.5 mil midfielder. I'd say Winks is the much safer pick for minutes. Bergvall's probably going to be on the bench quite a bit as well. And lastly, Son of course, who scored 3 times in pre-season and 1 assist. If you're looking for the most explosive possible start to Game Week 1, then a triple up with Porro, Son and Solanke is a genuine option, with a view to possibly selling one of them a few game weeks into the season when they've got Newcastle and Arsenal. West Ham have done a lot of smart business this window. Fulkrug, Somerville, Wan-Bissaka and some others. Fulkrug and Somerville both got a cameo in West Ham's final pre-season friendly, 2-2 draw of Celta Vigo. Bowen starring that game unsurprisingly with a goal and an assist that match. They could be a real surprise team this season, and we've got the benefit of being able to wait and see, given they've got some difficult opening games. Fulkrug got 12 goals, 8 assists for Dortmund last season, and Somerville got 19 goals, 9 assists in the Championship for Leeds. And lastly, Wolves, who many of us aren't looking at, but a few observations to mention. New signing Rodrigo Gomez has scored 3 times, including a brace off the bench, and their other new arrival, Strand Larsen, has got 3 assists, and he's been playing well, only 5.5 mil forward. Cunha's picked up a small hamstring injury, and we might see Larsen leading the line Game Week 1. Once their difficult opening games are out of the way, we'll have an idea of whether there's some 4 mil defenders on the cards as well. Mosquera's been involved in all but 1 pre-season friendly, and he's put in a good shift, only 4 mil. And Pedro Lima's played well in right back. Semedo's going to miss the start of the season, and he's only 4 mil. Though in their final pre-season friendly, Doherty played ahead of him. This video took many hours to put together. If it was helpful, hit like and subscribe for more FPL content like this. See you soon for the next one.